Good day, dear friend. Let us start with this, not prayer, but this observation, so that you have this to begin your day, or whatever your day is, at whatever point it is when you are watching this, whenever that is. Remember, you are in the middle of the island of the misfit toys. You are surrounded by incompetent idiots, rubes, fools, dolts, jadrules, people who don't belong where they are, people who are assuming positions of authority who have no business doing it, but for some strange reason, out of nepotism, incompetence, or some weird and yet further proof that there is a Satan and that he is in charge of employment statistics, you are amidst and among and must share space with some of the most incompetent, stupid people ever. Ever. And people at the highest level. You are right now, theoretically, actually, titularly being led by a person who walks around yelling, "Who ordered the veal cutlet?" A person who would be subject to welfare checks if he lived by himself. Think about that. Think about that. All right, my friends, today, the first news, and we talked about this last night, Ron DeSantis will be, I guess, announcing that he will be, running for president. And that's great. And that is a wonderful, wonderful, and a terrific thing. The first question is, what is your response, but not the usual response? What is your response in terms of, from a psephological point of view? That, of course, is election science, PSC, psephological point. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? Look at this, Washington Post. DeSantis to announce 2024 run on Twitter with Elon Musk after rocky stretch. Fox News, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to announce candidacy for president on Twitter Spaces. Twitter Spaces, 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 Twitter Spaces. How many people never heard of Twitter Spaces? How many? More people than you can. More people are asking, what do you think? What is Twitter? What is Twitter Spaces? What is it? Well, we know now. So, first rule is, this is why Elon Musk is involved in it. Makes sense to me. You got it? Makes sense to me. Good. Okay. Now, your thoughts? The question is, you should be asking, what is a Twitter's? Have you ever seen Twitter Spaces? I get these notifications, but I've never really followed it. It's all audio. What do you think? I'm curious as to you're being the astute observer of what is going on. What do you think is your reaction? Never heard of it. Okay. I try my best to always limit as much as possible from saying, I don't know, I never heard of that. I've seen it. I've seen announcements for that. What do you think this is? Someone writes, Twitter is noise. Absolutely wrong. Absolutely. This is somebody who says, I don't like this. Well, I'm not trying to be crude, but I had a discussion with somebody. I think Taylor Swift is crazy. It's stupid. I said, do you see how many people she's drawing. I don't care. I don't like it. Let me try, if I could today. Let's disabuse you of something. First rule. It's not your opinion about something. And I'm just saying this. For example, if you went to a doctor and said, "Doctor, does my grandmother have cancer? I don't like cancer." Okay, well, I don't either. That's not what I'm talking about. People always have, and it's this narcissistic view of social media that it comes from, well, what do I think? Well, I think they're stupid. No. Evaluate this. We're standing on a mountain. We're looking at the enemy. The enemy's coming. I don't like those people. Well, here they come. I don't like them. I don't like what they stand for. Here they come. I don't know what they're about. Here they come. Walking down the street. So this is it. What do you think about the announcement? What do you think about the positioning? How will this play? Pretend you're talking to somebody from another planet and he is asking you, I'm not asking you what you think personally. What does this mean? Is this new? Is this smart? Where do you think the traction is? How important is this? How long does it last? How critical is this? Do people remember announcements? They'll remember this one. They'll remember this. They'll remember this. This one will be for the records already. You understand that? This is really important. So that's number one. Number two, what does Elon Musk get out of it? Well, I think it was Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a Republican. I don't care what anybody says. He's a Republican. The Republican Party has become the party of the civil libertarian, constitutionally sentient. That's important. Remember that. Very, 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 very critical. Can't say it enough. Next, what do you think his position is going to be? What should it be? I'm telling you, he is acting too petulant, too persnickety, too old-fashioned, too fuddy-duddy, too focused on this Disney only moralistic type of stuff, up to and including things like, Disney and gay, drag, whatever it is. That's good. That's run its course. That has run its course. So that's what you've got to focus on. You ready? What does this mean? What is it going to do? What is Trump going to do? How is Trump going to be pulled into this? What does this do? It will be forgotten tomorrow. Speaking of forgotten tomorrow, Tucker Carlson, as I told you, is forgotten. Now, I know you don't want to hear that, no, you want to think that because you live and breathe and hang on what he says. Not you, but a lot of other people do. Because that's all they know, because they just liked him. A lot of politics and a lot of social stuff is the fact that you just like people. He's waited too long. They've effectively, when he comes back, it's, oh yeah, right, Tucker, yeah, hey, yeah, I forgot, dude. How you doing? Great. Hey, it's Tucker. Yeah, remember we were talking about him. So, what are you doing? Why did you announce you were going on Twitter? You're not going on Twitter. Why? How did that happen? Why don't they want you? Do you think that maybe Elon Musk realizes I got to get my stock sales? I've got revenue to worry about, and you are a pariah, right or wrong or whatever it is. Do you understand that? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Okay. Next piece of news. This might get you going. BLM is facing insolvency. BLM The biggest, I don't even know what that was. I don't know where it was. I don't know what they... Daily Mail reports that Black Lives Matter's national organization is at risk of going bankrupt after its finances plunged $8.5 million into the red last year, while simultaneously handing multiple staff seven-figure salaries. Financial disclosures obtained by the Washington Free Beacon show the perilous state of BLM's Global Network Foundation, which officially emerged in November of 2020 as a more formal way of structuring the civil rights movement theoretically. Yet, despite the financial controversy and scrutiny, BLM GNF, Global Network Foundation, continued to hire relatives of the founder, Patrisse Cullors, Cullors, and several board members. Isn't that something? Cullors' brother, Paul Cullors, set up two companies which were paid $1.6 million, providing professional security services for Black Lives Matter. $1.6 million. Paul Cullors was employed as the head of the security team at the $6 million Los Angeles mansion bought with charity donations. Did you know this? The sister of the board member earned $1.1 million for consulting. It goes on and on and on. And here is the thing. Nothing will be done to look into. Nothing will be done regarding this. Nothing will be done or said in any way to address or to deal with any of this. You understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? I think that's fascinating. I talk about that at great length on my private channel, which is a link to, which allows a little bit more intellectual and conversational intimacy regarding subject matter that may prove problematic to a lot of other people for reasons that I think are readily apparent. Next, for those of you who say, oh, this is the most stupid Twitter. Twitter right now is the number one most viable, the most important, the most critical social media platform there is. It is where you go for the news. Not TikTok, not Instagram, not Facebook, not any of the others. It's where everyone is going. You either know that, don't know that, whatever it is. I can't help you if you don't understand it. That is where it is. Also one of the best places to get news that breaks. Okay? I put a quote up, a reference to this wonderful piece from an equally wonderful piece from I think Lou Rockwell posted it. Elon Musk, by the way, referred to him, and he referred also to something called Alt Market US, and it's about the Club of Rome, how climate talk and sometimes hysteria is being used to shape global ideas. It's a fascinating story, and it's not a conspiracy theory. It gives you the history of Malthus, Bentham, and the like. But it also, listen to this, provides you with the 9 provisions that you should never ever lose sight of regarding globalist New World reset goals. Number 1, a rationale for governmental control of human population numbers. Number 2, the power to limit industry. Number 3, the power to control energy production and dictate energy sources. Number 4, the power it seeks to control or limit food production and agriculture. Number 5, the ability to micromanage individuals' lives in the name of some later defined greater good, sustainability, whatever it is. Number 6, a socialized society in which the individual right to property is abandoned. Number 7, a one-world economic system which they, the globalist hierarchy, would manage. Number 8, a one-world currency system, as evidenced and evinced and seen by the advent of the euro, which many people suspect was announced and hatched at a Bilderberg meeting. And number 9, a one-world government, a grand reset, if you will, a new restructuring a la Klaus Schwab and others, managing a handful of separate regions. This is exactly what is going on. I remind you of this. I tell you this. I focus. If you want to be an important and a critical part of this world, you must know this. Next, we're seeing more and more capitulation regarding things that don't make any sense, that are countervailing, that don't make any sense, that hurt the bottom line. In the old days, organizations, industries would say, we're not going to get near this subject. We're not going to get near this. We're not going to touch this subject. Well, the Los Angeles Dodgers faced backlash after the organization announced that it was re-inviting the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence to its Pride Night festivities. The team faced a considerable uproar initially for inviting this, quote, left-wing group of so-called trans nuns from their honoree list. And by the way, this, whenever you mock, whenever you diminish, whenever you make fun of religious organizations by virtue of their vestments and the like, it's almost like a version of blackface. You're using something which is historically inappropriate and something that derides and blasphemes and libels this organization. Anyway, the team faced initial uproar for inviting these folks. And after LA Pride announced it was pulling out of the festivities, the Dodgers did another 180 when they said, okay, we're going to come back again. Now, why is this important? We're also seeing into something which is also critical. In this group of people, this is what we're seeing in Target. Target holds an emergency meeting over LGBTQ merchandise in some stores. And we also have something which is interesting, in which we have, where is this? Here is this. Oh, here we go. Target CEO defends, quote, woke capitalism during calls to boycott kids. This is something. The Target's top executive dismissed this social media uproar, Twitter, over the retailer's new line of LGBTQ-friendly kids clothing. Kids saying they're LGBTQ. A kid claiming to be a lesbian. A kid... Baby clothes. Kids clothing saying that marketing the products are good business and the right thing for society. Outraged shoppers posted videos and images on social media, as you can imagine. And on Fortune's, quote, Leadership Next podcast, Target CEO Brian Cornell was asked about the backlash to woke capitalism, which also engulfed Bud Light, as you can imagine. And he says, I think those are just good business decisions, and it's the right thing for society, and it's a great thing for our brand. Meanwhile, his stores are closing because of the absolute incredible amount of people, of items that are just being stolen, smashed, grabbed, slashed, whatever you want to call it. Incredible. Incredible. That's what we're seeing. It's beyond anything that we have or could even imagine. Beyond anything. Is it beyond that? Okay. So watch what's happening there. Here's something which is interesting as well. There is something which I do not understand, and maybe you can help me with. but nobody will dare touch it because they're just afraid. But I've got to say something to you. And there is a person, apparently a very popular person by the name of Lizzo. And Lizzo, she's launched an inclusive shapewear line called Yitty, Yitty. And Lizzo was her own advertisement, which consists of whatever it is. Now, here's a question that I have, and this is where they're basically waiting for you to say something because you will be called fat shaming and all this stuff, when in fact it has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with that. Right now, America, as you can probably well imagine, suffers from a health crisis the like of which you cannot believe. Every year there's between 750 and 800,000 people who die from coronary artery disease, coronary events, coronary incidents that can be prevented by virtue of lifestyle, diet, and the like. But America doesn't want to think that. America says, no, that's really not true. It's exercise. Exercise will do that. Somehow running or being on a treadmill will change LDL levels, or I don't know what. It will somehow scrape and refurbish your endothelium through exercise. Or maybe you think juices. Or maybe if you bring that, because remember, the issue is not, obesity is not, we're not talking about it being an aesthetic problem. We're talking about it signaling a health problem. That's the issue. It's indicative of a health problem. You see what I'm saying? A health problem. But we're not talking about, your clothes don't fit. No. We're not talking aesthetics. In the African American community right now, I promise you, if I could lower the average BMI of African Americans, especially in urban centers, urban areas, urban locales, by 10%, I could save lives. Heart attacks, renal failure, hepatic failure, blindness, dialysis, hypertension, diabetes, go down the list. By just addressing obesity, by just lowering BMI numbers, by going into urban centers in particular and saying black kids, and not only that, black, Latino, people of color, people cannot, there's no way for them to eat normally. They eat this crap because that's all they have. The food is killing them. And you can joke all you want. I'm not going to eat bugs. No, I'm going to continue to think, and I'm going to believe that eating bacon somehow is, by virtue of some connection to Neanderthal, I don't know what, heritage, that mankind is a carnivore and this is good. Look, you do whatever you want. But when somebody comes up and basically is saying, not only is it okay to be morbidly obese, but it's fashionable. Now remember, that is not to say, that is to be distinguished from telling somebody, listen, you should be hated and reviled because you're overweight. No. But you shouldn't go out, you shouldn't accept it as, hey, it's okay. For example, there was a time in this country when smoking cigarettes were cool. Remember that? It was cool. You had James Dean and lighting cigarettes, and even Keith Richards did this stuff. He was constantly pushing the smoking. And it was, why? Why are you doing this? Now, there was a time when it was a cultural thing too. So anyway, watch what happens. I'm telling you. Where are the black leaders? Where are the leaders of color in trying to help? Basically, what is genocide? The number of people, the number of in the black community, obesity. We can just walk around right now. We could just walk around. Just walk around. Walk around. We're not going to do anything special. I think the greatest obesity in the world, I think it's in Samoa, some Samoan island, and they have diabetic foot wound centers, wound amputations are through the roof. Anyway, enough with that. Next, here's a story nobody wants to talk about, but I will. I find it kind of sad, but people are very, very careful not to discuss this for reasons I shan't ever understand. Maybe you can help me with it. I don't know. I don't really get it. Maybe you can. Do you know that there is a fellow by the name of Jordan Neely? You know who Jordan Neely is? Well, Jordan Neely was the man who died tragically. Look at this. New York Post. First line. An uncle of Jordan Neely, the homeless man, choked to death. He was not choked. This was not a choke. Not a choke. Not a choke. Not a choke. But, of course, nobody cares. They're going to just keep saying it. But an uncle of Jordan Neely was arrested near the Port Authority bus terminal for allegedly stealing purses from restaurants. Christopher Neely, 44, had acted as something of a representative for the grieving family in the aftermath of the 30-year-old of his death, speaking out about the lightning rod case. But he was also allegedly wanted for a pattern of grand larceny, including handbag thefts, according to sources. A member of NYPD's pickpocket team spotted Neely at about 11 p.m. Monday near the Manhattan bus station, the Port Authority. He allegedly took off when others approached him and fought back when cops caught up with him after a brief chase. There he is, spokesman, sad to say, for the Neely family. Pickpocket, there he is, Jordan Neely's uncle, Christopher Neely. Okay, there you go with that. Let me see what else we have. Target, this, number Rome, BLM, Ron DeSantis. And finally this particular piece, and I think this is interesting. I am seeing this, and I want to let you know this. More and more people are publicly stating and publicly announcing that they believe that they have noticed an appreciable change in Fox News. I'm going to try my best to say this again. And I want you to listen very carefully like you've never listened before. Fox News is not a political party. Fox News is an entertainment. Fox News is just there for one reason, for ratings. Fox News is not even the crown jewel of the Fox Entertainment Network. They care about football and ratings and that sort of thing. Fox News does not matter to anybody but the handful of diehard acolytes who have confused Fox News with a political party. Now, I don't know how to tell you this, but that's true. Okay? I don't know how to tell you this. I don't know how to... Right. It's not anything of any importance. They don't speak to anyone. You have this satellite of people, and I'm seeing more and more of them, like Marjorie Taylor Greene is getting a little... She's enjoying her... Lauren Boebert's going to be gone. Notice how Matt Gaetz is... They kind of sidelined him for a little bit, trying to clean his act up. And we're not... Again, there's no focus as to what's important. If the Republicans are going to speak, they must speak in unison, like the Democrats do. They speak 100% in unison. The Republican Party is schizophrenic. It's schizoid. It doesn't have any series of beliefs. It doesn't have this thing. I am tired of dealing with morons, maroons, especially those in the, quote, conservative, and why they call themselves this, I have no idea, media who care too much about transgenderism, transgender sports, drag, and use the P word constantly to refer confusing sexual predators with people who have distorted ideations of what is sexually titillating. Just like people who misuse the term chokehold. These words mean a lot. But to the, 8-year-old mentality of these people who will say whatever they have to say just to get clicks, what are you going to do? I'm going to try and say it this much. This is a war for our republic, for the future of this country and the world. And I can't speak for the rest of the world, but I can here. This is not a Republican situation or Democrats. I promise you, and Elon Musk and others are finally realizing, as is Bobby Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy is a Republican. Now, I know that this sounds weird because he has been and will be completely ignored and rebuked and cast aside by his beloved Democratic Party. This I guarantee you. He knows this. Listen to me. Whatever you thought about left and right, the left-right paradigm is over. Is over. It doesn't exist. And Donald Trump, you're going to have to ask yourself, is Donald Trump still the person best able, best suited, best equipped, best situated to run not only the country, but the world? You have to ask yourself that question. Does he have it? Is he like this this wonderful hair dryer? Remember in the old days before circuits where you got this great thing and you plugged it in and it blew a fuse. And you went down to the basement and you put the fuse back, you hit the breaker and you did it again. And you went upstairs and you took this great hair dryer or whatever it was and you plugged it in and it tripped the fuse again. What did you do? Did you move? No. Did you find another house to allow this hair dryer to be used? No. You got rid of the hair dryer. Donald Trump may be tripping fuses, even though he's a great product, the best of his class. He doesn't fit into the circuitry of the world. Ask yourself that. I'm not saying that. I want you to think that. And I want to ask yourself also whether Bobby Kennedy Jr. might be the secret. Because listen to me, and let me tell you again, if I haven't said it enough. There is going to be the next round of biomedical issues, up to and including a re-evaluation of the Jacobson case, 1905 Supreme Court case that dealt with mandatory vaccines and the like. More jurisdictional issues regarding CDC, World Health Organization, and go back and read Justice Gorsuch's 8-page dissent in Arizona against Mayorkas, and he lays it out. These are the issues that the intelligent, that the adult, that the smart, that the sentient, that the lucid citizen looks to, and not the same story about Dylan Mulvaney. That's important, but not that important. John McGuire couldn't get higher, says, you occasionally ran extension cord to another outlet carrying less load. You did. How does that work with the analogy I've given you? Would Ron DeSantis be that extension cord that has a less of a load? I do not know. I got to ask you a question, and I'm asking a very simple question. Do you believe Donald Trump drives by the White House figuratively and says, I can't wait to get back in there? Melania Barron, I can't wait to go back and hit round 2. I don't want to play golf every day. I don't want to hang around Mar-a-Lago every day. I am bored with this. I want to go back and live that life. Meanwhile, he's got 6 cases pending. Number 1, well, actually 5. Well, we'll see. Number 1, the Alvin Bragg case, which they just announced is going to be in spring. Number 2, the Letitia James civil case involving the overvaluation of real estate, which is absurd. Number 3, the Jack Smith case involving perhaps seditious conspiracy, which, number 4, this is the most problem, and George Conway was going crazy about this. Obstruction of justice perhaps involving the Mar-a-Lago documents. Number 5, remember Fulton County case, which will be, they're going to be releasing that one. I don't know why. And 6, the E. Jean Carroll case, which, by the way, she might be filing new charges. I don't know why. And then there's other issues involving or in the appeal of that. So there's 6 cases. Do you think the president's going to, the country's going to say, I want a guy with 6 current pending cases, some criminal, some theoretical? Now you're going to say, well, of course not. I don't care. I don't care. I love Trump. I love Trump no matter what. This is what you're going to say, and you're entitled to do that. Does the country want that? Is that what's best for the country? Is Trump the only person who can do this? You're going to have to answer those questions. And Ron DeSantis, big, big doubts. But I'm telling you right now, if Emmanuel Lewis, TV's Webster, were the Republican nominee, I'm voting for him for 2024. The only thing that might be different is what effect Bobby Kennedy Jr. may have on this. And I'm dead serious. Because he is not what you think. Oh, he's got a couple of issues here and there. And I think one of the biggest red herrings is that of Second Amendment gun issues. But I digress. John McGuire couldn't get higher, said, be Trump. And regarding Trump and his cases, are his odds of making those cases go away higher or lower if he runs? That could be a factor in his decision making. Are his odds of making those cases going away higher or lower if he runs? Well, I think if he runs, any chance of settlement goes out the door because that means more to the opposite, which are, of course, so entwined in this. It's a very interesting question. A very good question. I don't know. There was another issue, too. This judge, Merchant, whatever her name is, who, by the way, is an acting judge who's for like 14 years or something. Anyway, he has issued a gag order. Now, how does that work when you're running for office and your current case is a part of the issue that is being determined? It remains fascinating. It remains to be seen. John McGuire could get higher. I did not give you the hand trumpet. Thank you so much, sir. That's for you. And that's another one for good measure. You're a good man. You may be rotten to the core, but you're wonderful to the infantry. Remember that joke? All right, my friends. You have a great... Oh, and by the way, one more thing about Trump. Trump is going to be the Republican nominee. So all this is moot. Because there's no way they're going to do it. Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, stop it. And I should know it. I'm sorry. Vivek, he's very good, very smart, but nowhere even remotely near any of this. Okay? All right. So have a great and a wonderful day. See you tonight at 7 p.m. Don't forget, if you want to hear more of the adult talk, LionelMedia.com. That's where I can go into a little bit greater detail. There's a certain decorum here that we always will respect and adhere to. In any event, have a great and glorious day. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. See you tonight. 7 p.m. And until then, remember this. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.